Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
Good week, open week, and we got to have a little head start on Arkansas. The Hogs are, going to be a handful for us. They are, when you're playing an SEC roster with a group of 5 school, it's tough. It's hard. It's you can't hardly make any mistakes if you want to even have a chance to be in it. And very impressed with. They needed an off week a couple weeks ago, and it benefited them greatly. They got some guys back on defense this past week against Auburn and started looking more like themselves. I have great respect for Sam Pittman. I don't know him extremely well, but have always thought that he did a heck of a job recruiting and coaching his guys. And obviously the turnaround at Arkansas from the time he took over is pretty dang incredible, and just it's going to be a tall task, and it's exciting. I wish we were coming into this ranked 23rd in the country and feeling like I don't know who's the worst team in the 131 college football teams, but I'd like to be playing them this week and not the Hogs. Arkansas is going to be favored this week, and they should be. They've got better players and probably better coaches. Well, I wish that Barry was a little more like he was at Memphis, and he was in one front. Now he's in all kind of fronts, and I'm not sure exactly how he's going to play us. He's played some teams a bit differently, and so we've got to prepare for all of them. But no question, getting to watch some of that stuff for an extra week, I feel like. I don't know that we can block them or have the right calls or anything, but I do feel like I have a understanding of what he's trying to do when he's getting in his odd fronts or his load fronts or his even fronts, but there's a lot of moving parts with it, and we'll have to get in the game and figure out how he's going to play us. But I mean, it certainly didn't hurt that we got to watch that much of them. KJ, I know him well from Sardis, Mississippi, and he's just, he's as much involved in the run game as he is the pass game, which is a challenge. And then number 5, that running back, he's an SEC dude. I think he's at the top of the SEC in rushing, and tight end 7 is a good player, and those wide receivers and then you get to the O-line, it's the best we faced probably in the 4 years I've been here, I would say.
All right, everybody, welcome. We had a lot going on this morning. I know we're 8 minutes in, and you're just now hearing my voice. That's we're trying to get some things straightened out. Oh, and I got my phone playing. Hang on. Had my phone playing, trying to listen to the audio. For whatever reason, when you run OBS, I don't hear the sound, so I have to log in on my YouTube account on my phone to hear when it's over, so I know when it's my cue to talk. All right, 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Look, no hat or beanie. Just me and the brown locks. Just me and the luscious brown locks. Hope you guys are doing well. Interesting week, right? Interesting week. And I found it interesting that that Hugh Freeze was talking about it's not in that clip. And that clip went on like a minute and a half longer than I wanted it to, but there was so much good stuff in there. I also cut out a piece, which I was trying to allude to a second ago, about him not ever winning in Fayetteville. He brought that up, and his losses were with bad weather. but he's not had success in Fayetteville. And I cut that part out. I wish I'd left it in, but I was already almost a 3-minute long video, and I thought, my God. And direct service overhead is back over here. I decided after talking with Travis Ford that along with Apex Tattoo Studio, we're gonna bring direct service overhead back over. So shout out, of course, to direct service overhead. You guys know they offer same day services, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year, free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667. And then Apex Tattoo Studio, located in Rogers, 615 West Oak Street, Rogers, Arkansas, 72756. Give them a call. Get your appointment set up today to get some ink done. 479-278-2694. Let's get into this game. Let's talk a little bit. And also, feel free to comment away. I will try my best to keep up with you guys in the comment section. Feel free. Remember to like, share, subscribe. All that stuff. Do it. Do it all, please. The Liberty Flames are a very interesting matchup for Arkansas. So we are, as I'm trying to do 3 things at once here, we are going to talk about this matchup. Some things going on with these guys. We're going to go over their numbers, too, here in just a second. Let's read chat. What up, Tyzilla? What's up, Frederick Clemens? How you doing, sir? Do your due diligence, smack the like button, and get those likes up as I improve. There you go. Get the likes up. What it be, Thomas Nunley? Hope you're doing well. Rhett, what up, Ty? Ricky Murray. Let's go, Ty. Glad to catch a live. Yeah, we're a little bit earlier, too. I had to do that because I know we're supposed to get some bad weather here in just a little bit. Actually, here in a couple hours, I got some things I really need to get taken care of today, and it's going to be a busy day. So yeah, decided we'd go live. We'd go live a little earlier, and I know that someone always says, I always will get a text or a DM later, and you wonder why your views are so up and down because you don't have a schedule anymore. And I'm like, you know what though? That's a lot of YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers do not have scheduled times. Although I wish I could get back to the 11 o'clock 3 days a week, but that's just tough to do. Jay Massey says, get to play Bobby Petrino, Lane Kiffin, and Hugh Freeze in 1 year. The All-Americans in morality. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Lane Kiffin's a little bit different, his situation. I know there was a lot of talk when he was the Alabama OC. You could talk about him just bolting Tennessee after just a single year. I don't know that he belongs on that list, but that's honestly a pretty funny point, though, Jay. I love it. Ty, how do I order stickers? The way we do it right now, Jay, is you become a Patreon member for a minimum of $4 a month. And you, on the Patreon app or in Discord, which I think you're in, you can DM me your just give me a name and a mailing address, and I'll send it out to you. We had some issues getting these things printed, but, you know, hopefully if there's anyone missing, I think we've got everybody covered, maybe except one person, and I promise we're working on it. But we sent out a lot of stickers. A lot of you guys got stickers, and you shared the pictures. I love it. Listen to this psychology to get his team pumped. Yeah. Hugh Freeze is honest. He said he'd rather play the 121st ranked, than to play Arkansas. I think a lot of teams feel that way about Arkansas right now. They're playing really well on offense. They're playing really well. Ty, cover their defense. Just curious. Yeah, we'll talk about their defense. We'll absolutely get into that. If Auburn doesn't hire Freeze, they're crazy. He has beat Bama twice. SEC may have a say. Yeah, Todd. They can advise. I guess they can't tell a school no. I thought they maybe could. They could block a hire somehow, but I guess they can't. And when you think about it, they are individual institutions, right? It's not like it's not like the NFL where, they all pay. Well, I guess the U of A does kind of pay in. Then you have licensing fees and all that stuff. William Watkins with a $10 super chat. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that. We don't get those a lot these days because I don't. And hopefully we get more super chats with these post game shows. But I also I'm really looking forward to this Saturday's post game. By the way, simply because of that. Oh no, they have a contract with the SEC. I bet. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I feel like Hugh Freeze and Auburn would be a very good hire. I think that'd be a really good mix. That'd be I do. I think he'd be a great fit. He's had success in the SEC West. He's recruited at a high level, even though it was suspect how that happened. I think had he played by the rules, I don't know that he would have had the kind of success, signing guys like Laquan Treadwell. I mean, come on, that dude out of Illinois, no connections to Ole Miss at all. And they walk in that dude's living room, and he's going to sign with Ole Miss, who was highly suspect as a program at the time. Come on. Yeah, we all knew there was stuff going on. But anyways, he has had success one way or another in the SEC. And now with the way NIL is set up, who knows? I feel like, and I asked Dudley Dawson this yesterday on Hogville. If you haven't watched it, go watch. I thought Dudley had some interesting points, but I said I think that this is an audition tape, or I feel like it's an audition tape for him. Saturday Down South posted a meme stirring up the rumor. Wait. What rumor? What you talking about? Saturday Down South posted a hilarious meme stirring up the rumor mill with Auburn and a photo of Urban Meyer with Auburn logo on his shirt. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. I don't think anyone takes that serious, though. Urban Meyer, I don't know that. Man, I could be wrong about this, but I'm not so sure that guy ever coaches in. At least not in the SEC. I have such a hard time believing that any school would roll the dice with that kind of hire. And you could say the same exact thing about Hugh Freeze. You really could, about how bad things went at Ole Miss with all of it, everything that happened. You could argue the same thing, but the difference being Urban Meyer has a little bit longer track record of just being not a great guy. So, yeah, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, please. I would appreciate that. If you want to check out Patreon, that would be much appreciated as well. If you want to join the Patreon, if you want to get it on the sticker, you don't have one yet, here you go. Here's the link. That's to join the Patreon. Let's talk about Auburn Auburn. Oof. Let's talk about Liberty. We already got done with Auburn. Let's talk about Liberty for just a second. Right now, they're 7-1 in the country, 7-1 overall. My God, get it together, man. Some interesting games played. Right? They get on the road. They barely get by Southern Miss, who I think is sitting right at 500. Right? Aren't they, 4-4 on the year or something? But they barely get by these guys on the road, 29-27. Now, they've had this situation at quarterback that's been interesting, to say the least. With injuries, you've got a guy with the flu, and I mean, it's just kind of it's up in the air, and it's kind of hard to blame them when you look at their offense and you go, well, it's kind of all over the place. Quarterback situation matters. They've had like 4 different guys take snaps in various situations for different reasons, right? Either because of injuries or whatever. They barely get by UAB, who is not a good football team. They beat these guys 21-14. They go on the road against what I think is a pretty solid Wake Forest football team. They go on the road and lose this game 37-36. And then they come back home against Akron. Okay? Akron, who right now is 1-8, and they win 21-12. they're just kind of all over the place, right? Old Dominion, they beat by 14, 38-24. UMass, they go on the road, and Old Dominion was a road victory for them as well. They win 42-24. Fast forward to Gardner-Webb. Can you tell me where Gardner-Webb University is located off the top of your head? Gardner-Webb currently 4-5. Liberty beats them at home 21-20. I think a lot of people are banking on what they did against BYU, and I think that it does matter because you could kind of argue the same thing about what's going on with Arkansas. They're coming off a couple of games where you feel like offensively Arkansas's kind of they're starting to get it figured out, where they're a little bit more consistent. You talk about red zone efficiency, right? They were 7 for 7 against Auburn on the road. I think that matters. I know Auburn's not a good football team. I agree. They did something similar against a familiar foe in the BYU Cougars, who are now 4-4 and they're 1-2 on the road. They won that game pretty easily, 41-14. Bennett for Liberty was 24 of 29, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Dede Hunter, who is really fun to watch. This cat on the year averages over I think it's 6.5 yards a carry is what I had typed out. Watched a little bit of his highlights. This dude is shifty, great vision. He sees hole. He runs through hole. Very much just kind of a simplistic running back, right? Not a guy, kind of patient. Doesn't have that Rocket Sanders level of patience, but is shifty, quick. He's 5'9", 5'10". More notes I have. I need to actually start looking at my note page. He's 5. I thought it was 5'10". Yeah, 5'10", 190. He's shifty. He moves like he's 5'6", 160 pounds because he's just so light on his feet. But he had 23 carries for 213 yards against Liberty. I think that was a moment for Arkansas when Arkansas played BYU where it gave them a little bit more confidence, and you saw what happened when Arkansas played Auburn a little while later, coming out of their bye week. Liberty's coming off a bye week. They have a huge confidence-building win against BYU, which does give you some pause for concern. Now, they've got a backup running back who's out for a funeral. Their quarterback situation is just up in the air. I don't know who Arkansas – I really don't know. I think they're planning on a couple of different guys playing against Arkansas, but – Bennett had a good game against BYU. Again, these guys are undefeated at home. Their only loss is against a salty Wake Forest team. They're very hard to pin down, Liberty is. And again, it's fascinating how much Arkansas and Liberty has that in common. It's fascinating how much they have this in common. Because Arkansas is hard to pin down. But Arkansas's offense has been more consistent throughout the year compared to Liberty. Like, we know these guys are good enough to get 500 yards of total offense week in and week out. Like, they're good enough. Against just about anybody, they're at that level on offense when they're fully dialed in. They're capable of 500 yards, 35, 36 points a week. Up until they played A&M, Bama, and Mississippi State. But they're capable. Obviously, Mississippi State, you didn't have KJ. Alabama was just a punch. I mean, that was just such an ugly game. I mean, again, it just same. It's a different year, same story with Bama, right? Mississippi State was what it was. No KJ. I think you've got to spot Arkansas at least a couple of scores on that one without KJ. And then A&M is that game that I just continue to go back to, and I'm like, this is part of what makes this year so confusing. That and Missouri State should have beat Missouri State by 17, 14 at the on the low end. Instead, they get by Missouri State. They had to, stave off a pushback by Missouri State, a comeback attempt by Missouri State, a 4th and 1 that goes for, 50 whatever yards for a touchdown. Like, just little mental mistakes kept Missouri State in that game. Mental mistakes against A&M, and like we've been told about A&M, it's like that matchup, Arkansas is just one play away from winning. Dudley said that yesterday. Dudley was like, well, you had these instances where had only just one thing gone their way, they win that game. And I agree with him. He's 110% correct on that. My thing is, Arkansas shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. It shouldn't have been a situation where, had KJ not tried to Superman from the 3-yard line. Shouldn't have even been that. That was the catalyst to that game. And I would argue those next 2 games, Arkansas just had a hard time shaking off that loss against A&M, and it showed. And, again, Mississippi State was a perfect storm because Mississippi State was playing a pretty high level of football, and Arkansas didn't have its star quarterback. But then you fast forward to BYU, and all of a sudden they get their confidence back on what they're capable of doing on offense. Can they score 50-plus points a week? No. No, they can't. They're not that. That's Tennessee level. No, not very few teams could do that at any given point in the year where you have like a chunk of games and it's like, they're going to score 45, 50 points these next 4 weeks. Very few teams are capable of doing that. And that's kind of how I like to look at a season too, because the first 4 games, compare that to the final 4 games, right? Look at Arkansas a year ago. Actually, those were similar. But you had those chunks in the middle, right, where Arkansas, they go on a losing streak. And they turn around, they win a bunch of games. But Arkansas is at that point now. Here's their next 4 games. Or, well, I guess technically these final 6 games when you include BYU and Auburn. Here's that next chunk of games. Has the offense turned it around? Are they going to score 41-plus a week? I think they're going to have to beat some of these teams. I don't think they're going to have to with Liberty, but they're going to have to deal with LSU and Ole Miss. They're probably going to have to score at least 30, 35 on Missouri. They're not a great offensive team, but boy, at home you just don't know what you're in for against the Tigers. But when you look at the grouping, the 4, 5, 6 games, what can you do and how and where did it all start if there is a turnaround? You can argue for Arkansas it was BYU because they turned around, they did it, and they made it look just as easy against Auburn. You felt like they actually probably left points. They started off, and this is what's crazy about this. Both those weeks, Arkansas started off in the opening quarter with just 7 points. BYU outscored Arkansas in the first quarter 13-7. And they ended up scoring 52 points. Auburn, 7. You outscored Auburn just 7-3. Again, Arkansas is averaging, 5 points in the opening quarter. And yet they went on to score 41 points. And you felt like, they could have scored 45. Could have had 45, 47 points in that game. Auburn was kind of gifted a late score. Arkansas was running their 2s on the field on defense. So looking at Liberty, is the BYU game their offensive, is that the catalyst to their turnaround on the offensive side of the ball for more consistency? They're the best of all the FBS independent teams, by the way. That includes Notre Dame, BYU, UConn, New Mexico State, Army, and UMass. They're 7-1. Notre Dame's 5-3. Everyone else is sub 500. And the independent, the individuals in college football. I like it when teams like Liberty are good. I think it's good for football. I think it's good for college football when teams like BYU, Liberty, Utah State for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years in a row, they were pretty good. And then that head coach ran off to Wisconsin. Of course, UCF. I think it's good for college football when those teams are good. UTSA, right? We know all about what's going on there. UTSA, the Roadrunners. I like it when these teams are good. How is UTSA this year? Are they good again? I know last year they were, and then Barry Lunny left to go join Brett Bielema at Illinois, but are they any good this year? I know, again, last year they were fun to watch. They were a good football team. Just well coached. Not dynamic, but just a well-coached team. I think it's good for college football when teams like Liberty are good, when the non-P5 schools or the teams that haven't been good for a couple of decades and now they're top 3 in the country. I'm looking at you, Tennessee. It's good for college football. And I hate that it's at Tennessee. I do, because I really think that is a natural, organic rivalry. Arkansas's kind of got the better, they've got the long end of the stick the last few times they've played Tennessee in football. the baseball rivalry. It is definitely because of what's going on over there and who's over there, but it feels natural there. Basketball, it feels I just think Tennessee is that should be the out of the East versus West in the SEC rivalry for Arkansas. Shouldn't be Mizzou. That game, I don't think Mizzou belongs in this conference, period. I'll just say that. But Tennessee is a natural, organic rival. But, again, I like it when these teams are good. Now, Liberty and Tennessee are not in the same field at all, not even close. But you get what I'm saying. Teams that aren't typically that haven't been relevant. And Liberty, thanks to Hugh Freeze, brought them to another level. Is he going to take over? Here's an interesting thing, too, to think about. If he does go to Auburn, all of a sudden it's like you feel like they may have found their guy. Gus Malzahn, we knew that Gus was – we knew it was any year. The final 3 years, we were just kind of waiting for them to drop the axe. Even after the extension and then what followed after the extension. It's like, are they really going to put up with this? I don't remember his buyout after his last extension there, talking about Gus, but it wasn't anything like Urban Meyer's. It wasn't 85, 90 mil or whatever. And Auburn's got some deep pockets. I was kind of waiting on them to drop the axe, and then they do, and they go out and they hire someone far worse. As we all know, Arkansas fans know, the grass is not always greener. It's not always greener, man. And Harsin, oh, what a bad fit for them. Chad was still worse. Chad Morris was still worse on so many levels. But here's the interesting dynamic: do they finally have their guy? Is Hugh Freeze going to be a guy who isn't winning 10 wins by year 3 and they run him off too? That's just what Auburn does. Ask Otis Kirk how he feels about the way Auburn handles their coaches. Sounds like someone's walking around in my house. That's weird. Sound like I heard footsteps. I got ghosts hanging around outside my door. Feel free to comment, questions. Super Chat is up, right? Super Chat is rolling. Appreciate Will for the $10 Super Chat. Really do appreciate that. What is it that Liberty does well? Offensively, if you look at what they can do, they are a top 50 offense, which usually means they're kind of so-so on the offensive side of the ball. They do run the ball pretty effectively. 195 yards a game. Top 30 in the country. Their passing offense is 81st. That's one of those matchups you kind of like for Arkansas. But here's the question. Even with the quarterback situation for Liberty, even though there's a giant question mark, do they surpass their average of 226 a game? And I'm going to go with yes. There you go. There's something you could bet with your friends. Maybe we'll throw that up as a Discord. How many yards of total offense does Liberty end up with? They average 422. Like I said, they're right in the top 50. Does Arkansas give up more or less? Again, backup running back out. They've got a quarterback situation that's not great. Quarterback's been sacked a bunch this year. Their passing efficiency is 89th in the country. They're really bad on third down. They're in the 100s. Their red zone efficiency is bad. They're 112th. They're 35% likely to convert on third down. That's 100th in the country. They're giving up roughly 3 sacks a game, which puts them at 105th. Think about the caliber of opponent they've matched up with. This is why I told you guys, and when I told Dudley yesterday, the more I looked at this, it's like this is a matchup nightmare. Can be balanced, and they can have some success on offense. They absolutely can. Hogs win 34-17, says Michael Wilmoth. What's up, Michael? Good to see you here and alive, my man. Hugh Freeze really believes his team has what it takes to win this game. Don't get fooled by his presser. Oh, well, yeah, that's what makes him a great coach. I agree. I just don't think they have a chance. I really don't. I think it's going to start off really tight. I think this game, it starts off really close, really tight. Arkansas probably turns the ball over. They've got a safety with 4 picks on the year. I just had him up here. Hang on just a second. Where you at? Where you at? Here he is. Robert Rahimi, safety. 33 tackles, 4 picks. He's also got a fumble recovery as well. They have 7 fumble recoveries on the year. That's pretty good. They forced 8. That's not bad. 11 picks on the year for Liberty. Yeah, I mean, he's like Sam, I think, in a lot of ways. I think he's trying to undersell for sure. Give me your scores. I want to see your scores. Give me your scores, please. If Arkansas doesn't approach this game like a regular SEC game, they will lose. I mean, listen, I think simply because of how bad their defense is, yes. But, Shahid, I just don't. The more I look at this game, I just don't think. Again, early on, yeah, it's going to be a game. Arkansas fans probably going to be frustrated because Arkansas does this every week, no matter the opponent. They come out in the opening quarter, and they're lucky to score 7 points because of stupid penalties, 3rd and long scenarios, starting off poorly on 3rd down. That's, starting off behind the sticks. The defense doesn't typically give up too many big plays in the opening quarter, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went into the second quarter trailing. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And then the second and third quarter, they just turn it on, and I think they just pull away. Arkansas's too deep. I think this is a game where you feel pretty confident. And what Hugh Freeze talked about there, what he said that stood out to me was talking about how he doesn't like how, unlike when Barry Odom was at Memphis where he stayed with a solid front, he has a multiple look in the box and on the defensive line. I love multiple fronts. I love you play to your opponent. I love that idea, and Odom has done that more so this year than he did last year in 2021. He's playing more to his opponent, and now that you're getting healthy in the secondary, by the way, update, Chavis supposed to be full go. I think Chavis is a pretty good player. I think overall his career's kind of been so-so. He's a true junior, if I'm correct. I think I'm right on that. He's a pretty decent cover guy. Dwight McLaughlin continues. I mean, we posted something yesterday in Discord. I don't remember if it was Pro Football Focus or somewhere, but he's getting noticed. So keep an eye on Dwight McLaughlin. I don't believe he's given up a touchdown yet this year. Maybe that's what that tweet was. I don't remember now. I should have saved it. But yeah, the more I look at them, it's not that I'm not taking them serious. I just think Arkansas is just a way better team. Now, if Liberty plays, it's and again, they're coming out of a bye week. I don't know what Hugh Freeze's career record is coming out of a bye week. I have no idea what it is. That would be good to find if someone wanted to go look that up. But here's what I will say. If that BYU game gave them confidence, they're coming out of their bye week and they play a perfect game and Arkansas does the usual slow start, Liberty could take advantage. They absolutely could, and they could build a pretty decent lead. We've seen Arkansas go back to that Missouri State game. Arkansas had to earn their way back into that football game. They let teams kind of hang around. If South Carolina was just a little bit better, in certain areas, right, they might beat Arkansas at that time. I just think Arkansas coming out of the bye, I think they're I don't know if it's the offensive players are just bought in entirely, or I don't know what it is, but they have just looked so much better from the second quarter on. And they're putting these last two opponents away, and I think they do it again. I do. Liberty's a good football team. Up front on the defensive line, they're pretty solid. 45-17, says Fishman. The tightest it will be 0-0, says Mike. Gerard Collins, 28-10. Philip White fam says, nothing is worse than Chad Morris. Yeah, I think some of the old heads would say Jack Crow gives him a run for his money, but no, I agree. Chad Morris is a worse coach. It's not even close. I think he's the worst hire in school history, no matter the sport. I think he's the worst hire. Just horrible. Three-Headed Sloth says 42-17. Austin, our moderator on Discord, says 45-21. Their only test was Wake, who ran for only 21 yards and still won. Yeah. Shahid Mustafa said, Shaheed's got Liberty winning 41-28. Are you feeling okay, Shaheed? Are you all right? Their offense has been pretty unstable, but you've got them at 41 points. I could see Arkansas scoring only 28, but if that were the case, I think they would still win. I think if it is a low-scoring game, I would still like Arkansas. Okay. Shaheed says Liberty's got this one. All right. That is playing it safe, yeah. Aaron Harbison says 35-17. Hog Barbecue says our defense played well last week, I thought. Yeah, they did against a very unstable offensive team. However, BYU kind of made it look pretty easy. But BYU's better on offense. But, yeah, defense did play better. Hudson Clark has settled in at the middle safety spot. I think Sam will try to rest some starters in the fourth quarter and work the clock. Yeah, I agree with that as well because you're getting ready for LSU. And that's the other part of this, right, is this a trap game? That's the other part of this equation. Is this a trap game for Arkansas? Because they got to get ready for a very tough LSU football team. There's something to be said about these trap games, right? I think this does count as a trap game. So I'm not going to call Shaheed Mustafa crazy. He could be on to something. Arkansas may be looking forward to LSU because they know what they got on their hands. Oh, okay. Shaheed says he's using reverse mojo. Okay, fair enough. Philip White says we're going to have 3 picks. That's Lord Hud now, Ty, not Hudson Clark. That's right, Lord Hud. Rod says 41-21. All right, let's look at their numbers really quick. We already kind of talked a little bit. We know Arkansas scoring defense still not any better. They're giving up 32 points a game. That ranks 111th in the country. And again, we're talking about Arkansas's defense. Total defense, Arkansas is just atrocious. 460 yards a game given up, ranks them at 121st. Arkansas's run defense, 72nd in the country, giving up about 147 yards a game. Passing defense is still one of the worst in college football, 129. Third down efficiency, I think it's interesting. I'm seeing their third down defense play better later in games. And like the later, like in the second half, fourth quarters, we're seeing that's again, there's another number I would love to know. What is Arkansas's on defense? What's their third down defense? Like, what does that look like in terms of conversion rating or conversion ratings? How often are teams converting on third down against Arkansas in the fourth quarter? But right now, their overall third down defense is, again, horrible, 123rd. They're giving up 47% of the time. That's awful. That is so bad. I don't know that I've seen it this bad. I can't remember Chad. I seem to remember Chad's floating around the 100s, but I don't know about 123rd, not at this point in the year, but, year 2 that didn't matter because he got fired. Red zone defense, Arkansas, 95th in the country. It's just bad all across the board, right? The one area where Arkansas has been a problem is sacks per game. Now, Liberty has given up 23 sacks on the year. Jonathan Bennett was sacked 13 times. Caden Salter, who I think is their redshirt freshman, he's had 8 sacks, and then Nate Hampton gave up 2 sacks. Or has been sacked twice. I shouldn't say gave up 2 sacks. Let's talk about their quarterback situation for just a second. Jonathan Bennett, 6 foot, 220-pound junior. He's throwing the ball 58% completion. That's his completion ratio. He's 77 of 130 attempts, 8 touchdowns, 7 picks. He's had the flu. I think he missed a couple of days of practice. I don't know what Hugh Freeze's rule is as far as players missing, practice during the week. There are some coaches who say if you miss a game, a day, your odds are unlikely to start, but you could play. And then if you miss 2 days during the week, then you're out, right? There's some they're all different. They all have different philosophies. But But when it comes down to the quarterback situation, they may just, if he's good to go, they may play Jonathan Bennett. Charlie Brewer, this guy's gonna. You talk about qualifying for an AARP card. He's a super duper senior. He's 6th year, 6'1", 220-pound quarterback. He's not played a whole lot. 3 of 4 on the year, 18 yards. Of course, that's 75% completion ratio. 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Broke his wrist week 1, but did play some. I think he actually started against BYU, but he didn't throw the ball. And then Nate Hampton, their redshirt freshman, 6'6", 235. He's 3 of 8 on the year. 76 yards on 3 completions, though. That's interesting. 38% completion ratio. Has practiced this week, but minimal overall experience. Don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. Salter is out. Caden Salter, I think he tore a hammy or something. Pretty serious. He's out for the year. Yeah. Let's pull up what they do on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball. By the way, on offense, they are atrocious on third down. We'll just go down the numbers here. I have a separate list of numbers here. Liberty, through 8 games, 567 plays, 3,378 yards. They're averaging roughly 6 yards per play, which is fascinating. 422 yards per game. Their scoring offense, on the other hand, ranks 56th in the country at 31 points per game. They are not good at third down conversion on offense, 34%, right? Fourth down conversion, which I think is relevant because Arkansas they have had teams go for it on fourth down 3 or 4 times in a single game. They're ranked about 37th in the country on offense, they've converted 8 of 9. Or no, I'm sorry, 9 of 15. My bad. 9 of 15. That puts them at 60%. Their passing offense ranks 81st in the country. Like I said a minute ago, they do have 14 passing touchdowns. They're averaging 226. We kind of already went over some of that. The rushing offense, again, top 30, right? We've gone over the red zone stuff and everything. Let's focus on the defense really quick. Their total defense is 25th in the country, giving up just 330 yards a game. Scoring defense, 31st, 21 points a game. Third down defense, they're ranked 14th in the country on third down defense. 14th. Teams are only converting about 30% of the time. Their fourth down defense, also tied with LSU, 22nd in the country. And here's where things get really interesting. Tackles for loss. They average 8 or about 9 tackles for loss per game. A grand total of nearly 300 yards lost at this point in the year. 70 tackles for loss. They're 4th in the country at getting in the backfield and tackling you for a loss. They're tied for 3rd in sacks with 30 sacks according to NCAAstats.com or /stats. 30 sacks. They're averaging nearly 4 sacks a game. They're tied with Cincy, who's 3rd. Passing yards allowed. They don't give up a lot. 207. That's good for 40th. They're giving up about 207. About 6 yards per completion. That is stopping yards after catch is what that says to me. That tells me they're probably wrapping up. And from what I've watched, they do exactly that. They wrap up really well. Rushing yards allowed. Again, pretty interesting. They only give up about 123 yards a game. And in this day and age of college football, that's at least good. It's not great, but it's good. That's good for top 40 in the country. It's 36th. Opponents have not even rushed for 1,000 yards on these cats yet. 986 yards. Yeah, Arkansas is going to break that wide open. I think they're definitely going to put Liberty over 1,000, but teams are only running the ball about 3.5 yards per carry. They've only given up 9 rushing touchdowns. At this point, that's about 1 a game. Again, 36th in the country here, 123rd, right? Switching back over to their offense really quick, Dede Hunter, a running back, again, like I kind of talked about earlier. He's the guy that stands out, but do not do not overlook what they can do. I think Demario Douglas is still good to go. I think he was dealing with some stuff early on in the year with some nagging injuries, but I seem to remember reading that somewhere. But I think he's fully good to go. He's got 42 catches, 615 yards. He's averaging about 15 yards per completion, 5 touchdowns. Nobody's even close on that roster, and that's actually good for the secondary because, again, I haven't watched them play a full game. I've watched them a little bit this year. Of all the non-con opponents, I think I've actually watched Liberty the most. And none of their other receivers really stand out. And, yeah, they've had some guys dinged up here and there. But Dede Hunter is also a threat in the passing game, by the way. The running back, he's got 18 catches, 149 yards of receiving. He's averaging about 8 yards per completion or per reception, I guess, with 1 touchdown. So, I know their competition hasn't been the best, but that's a ton of tackles for loss. That's incredible. I don't care who you're playing. That's incredible. That's pretty good, man. They swarm. Go watch them. Go watch their highlights. They will swarm. Gerard Collins says we will have 5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, and a pick late in the game. All right. I like what Fishman says. Time to extinguish the flame. Time to extinguish the flame. This summer's hot blockbuster. I guess it'd be fall, wouldn't it? This fall's hot blockbuster. The flames are extinguished in Fayetteville. I also think the defensive numbers are inflated because of that crap schedule. Right. And I always say you have to keep in mind who they play against. You have to keep in mind that this is not a tough schedule. But you can also appreciate what you see when you watch them play. And they do swarm. They tackle well. They don't give up. They don't have a lot of missed tackles. But here's the difference. They got to deal with Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson. Enough said. They're gonna struggle with these two. They've never seen anything like this. They have not played against an offense like this. I'm sure they've played plenty of high-tempo RPO, but not the veer and shoot, not the way Kendall dials it up, and not against players like what they have on the offensive line and what they have in the backfield along with a pretty testy group of receivers. I mean, this is a must-win for so many different reasons. First off, it gets you in the back-to-back-to-back win category. Gets you back to 3 straight wins where you're at when you started the year against Cincy, South Carolina, and Missouri State. It's nice to see that. It's nice to see that coming off 3 straight L's, then turning around and finding a way to get 3 straight dubs. At the beginning of the year, I said Arkansas. I think I picked Arkansas to lose to both BYU and Auburn, and they've won those games. I thought they would. I think I had them beating Mississippi State and A&M though. Yeah, my preseason picks all over the place. It's not looking too good. But this is a must-win for a lot of different reasons. Also, it puts Sam Pittman at 8-0 against non-con opponents. I think Liberty is a quality opponent. They are not ranked. They're ranked everywhere but the college football playoff ranking. I hate these multiple rank. I do not like that. I wish they would just drop the coaches poll. I don't know. I don't, or maybe drop the AP. I don't know. Too many damn polls. I hate that. But, it's always been that way. You had the BCS rank, back in the day. But this is a big, big game because I think they are a quality opponent. And I think I'd feel a lot better saying this if we knew they were fully healthy, but I feel like this would be your best win. People would argue Cincinnati. People would argue South Carolina. But I said from the get-go, I just was not buying that Cincinnati was a ranked opponent or a ranked team. Wasn't buying that Cincinnati should be ranked. And they're 2 decent teams they've played against they've lost to, Arkansas and UCF. They lost to Gus Malzahn. They lost to Sam Pittman. Right? Like Arkansas, and you felt like Arkansas should have won that game by even more, and they didn't. They had a hard time putting them away. South Carolina, what happened there, right? Arkansas finds a way. They score 23 points in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter. They explode. They pull away. And they end up winning by 14 in a game you felt like, well, they probably should have won by more. And then South Carolina goes and they lose to Georgia, but then they win 4 straight games. They beat Kentucky. right? That's the game where like, oh, they beat Kentucky. Yeah, but who was playing quarterback for Kentucky? Do you know? Do you remember off the top of your head? Because it wasn't the guy you think it was. And they barely won that game. Well, I say barely. They won by 10, but still. And that was at Kentucky too. Say what you want. And then they found a way to get rid of or to put away A&M. But then they turn around and they lose to Mizzou. That's not a high quality. That's not a. Is it a quality win? I don't know. They're 5-3. I guess we'll find out when the dust settles. They've got Vanderbilt, Florida, and then they close the year out with Tennessee and Clemson. Oh God, that is brutal. Golly, that's brutal. You hate that for them. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who are we kidding? And I'm not knocking Arkansas. I'm just simply saying, based on who they've played, they don't have. And I don't even know if you count Liberty as a signature win, but I think it'd be a quality win. I think it might be your highest quality win. They're ranked again everywhere, but the CFP poll. And you have again LSU, Ole Miss, and Mizzou to close the year out. So I mean, you guys tell me, what do you think? If Arkansas beat Liberty on paper, I realize again they've got situations at quarterback and backup running backs banged up. I think they have another guy that he maybe didn't mention that might be a little banged up on defense. I don't remember who it was. But if Arkansas, despite what's going on with the injuries, would this be their highest quality win? I think it's got to be up there. I could maybe see the South Carolina game taking that. Maybe some of you think it's BYU, even though BYU's kind of fell flat on their faces. I don't know why that was held for review, but I hope Rocket Sanders runs over their safety Rocket. Yeah. Ty, do you think Sanders rushes for 200 this weekend? No, because they wrap up well. They swarm. I think they're capable of containing the run game for a little bit. I think they're capable of getting off the field by slowing down Arkansas's run game. But as the game goes on and they start to wear these guys down because of the use and the abuse, right? Because they just run you over, that big physical offensive line. By the way, grades out really high, according to Pro Football Focus, one of the highest in the country last I looked on run blocking. They've not faced anything like this. Does Arkansas as a team run for 200 yards? Yes. I don't know. I don't think Rocket does by himself. I also think Arkansas, when they pull away, they're gonna bench Rocket, and he's just not going to get any more carries. There's another good question. How many carries does Rocket get? Because you want to keep him ready for LSU, and I know that's going to be in the back of the minds of this staff. Ty, is Missouri State still winning? Well, Missouri State, after they gave Arkansas a good ball game, what did they do? They lost like 3 straight games. Yeah, they lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games. They fell apart. Missouri State, I don't know why. I couldn't tell you if there's an injury. I don't know. They're 3-5 right now. They're 8th in the MVFC standings. They're 1-4 in conference, 3-5 overall. They're the bottom 4 in their conference. Yeah, no, they didn't. No, they were riding a 2-game winning streak. They beat UCA at UCA week 1, 27-14. Then they beat UT Martin 35-30. Held in there with Arkansas, and then they turned around and lost. Yeah, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight losses. They just beat Western Illinois. So no, they didn't. Richard Neal, what's going on, man? Rocket get like 15 carries, then rest him. Yeah, I don't think he goes over 200. Unless Liberty finds a way offensively to make this a game. Unless Liberty can make this interesting, which is possible against this Arkansas defense. That's always my hang-up when we're talking about Arkansas. That's always my hang-up is the defense. Do I trust them? I know they're getting healthier in the secondary. Hope you're doing well, Richard. Hope you're doing well, man. We broke Petrino. And that could be the case. I mean, I don't know, but they didn't win, and they're not. And it's surprising. I really thought they were going to go on and do just fine. Dalton's Motorsport Adventures, over under 450 yards for KJ. Yeah, I take the under. I just don't think I think they're going to rest people. Wild prediction. I love wild predictions, by the way. Wild prediction. Arkansas scores a defensive touchdown this weekend, he says. Okay. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. But yeah, Trey, they are definitely not still winning. Austin says Rocket, 15 carries, 115 yards. I think that's, yeah. I said Petrino would get a P5 job. Then they start losing. Isn't that funny how that works out? Happens to me all the damn time, Michael. Don't feel bad. Happens to me all the time. It's like with fantasy football. Oh, I'm gonna go pick this guy up. He's gonna put up great numbers. And he has 6 carries for 9 yards. At the beginning of the year, I thought BYU was going to be one of our top wins. Not really anymore. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Aaron Harbison says this would be our best win so far this year, and I agree. I think it probably would. It's got to be, right? If you still got to play the game, you still got to win, right? You still got to win the damn game. You got to go out and play it. But like I said, I'm taking Arkansas, and I think that happens. Anything could happen, especially with how inconsistent this offense can be, with how they with what's happened in the red zone most of this year until they went 7 for 7 against Auburn in the red zone, with how they make these mistakes and these penalties and they shoot themselves in the foot and they play just wildly inconsistent like we've seen them do time and time again. And yet they still find ways to rack up over 500 yards of offense, just not with the kind of points you think they should have. I picked Arkansas to win this game 35-20. I've got them at plus 15. We might have to do another poll or we might have to do something, another forum for some different ideas for what, because this game really is fascinating. I do find this game fascinating. I really wish that that they had their quarterback situation under control, because I want to play someone when they're at their best. I want to beat them when they're at their best. You know, I mean, you'll hear me make fun of another team for barely beating someone, you know, when the other team has all these injuries. It's like, yeah, but they weren't healthy, right? I want these guys to be healthy. You want to beat them when they're at their best. On paper, yes, but do we think that Liberty would beat South Carolina or Cincinnati? I don't. Yeah, I do. If their quarterback, if guy number 1 hadn't broken his wrist, yeah, I think they could beat South Carolina. Absolutely. Not like, if you're going to say best out of 10, I would probably take Cincinnati to win maybe 4 of those out of 10. South Carolina, maybe 5 out of 10. But yeah, I think they could beat both. Will McAdoo return to wide receiver when the secondary heals up? I don't know. The belief is he could play this weekend. There's some rumors floating around that he could play. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they still, like, the plan is this year he's going to stay at corner or in the secondary until the offseason, and then they're going to give him the option during spring to go back and you know, if he wants to, go back and play wide receiver. Wild prediction, Doobie hits the century mark. I like that wild prediction. Arkansas scores a defensive touchdown. I think that could happen. Dalton's Motorsport Adventures. It may be hard to get yards after contact if they swarm to the ball as much as you're saying, Ty. I haven't seen them play yet, though. Yeah, they swarm pretty well, and they wrap up well. But, again, they're about to play a very big physical football team, a very fast, big, physical offense. And I feel like, too, the faster they go, I mean, it's just going to be such a disadvantage for Liberty. And I think they feel like they've got some decent depth in how they do things on defense up front. But it's just too big of a mismatch. But they are good on the defensive front. I do like them on the defensive front. Absolutely. I think they're good enough. I think they're good enough. They can make it interesting for a couple of quarters, but eventually they're just gonna be worn down. The Weather Channel just updated the Torcon to a 7. What's Torcon? Tornado. What does Torcon mean? I follow my guy Zachary Hall. There he is. I follow Zachary Hall. Let's go see what Zachary's saying really quick for this weather. Let's see what Zach has to say. Is he in here? Zach, what is the deal with the weather, my man? Let's flip the screen around. Here we go. Here's my guy, Zachary Hall. I follow him. Okay, go to his YouTube, right? Pro Storm Chaser, Vortex Chasing, DM for business inquiries. What's he saying? Here we go. This was a minute ago. Severe risk increasing, Arkansas. Be safe. Tornado risk will be the highest in the orange and red shaded regions. So here we go. Wow. See, I'm up here. So I'm feeling okay. I don't know. Does this mean like all day? What is this? Is this like the first hour? What are we looking at? Is Zach in here? Boy, look at that. Hot Springs. You guys down here, Texarkana, Southwest Arkansas, all of you in Central Arkansas, Little Rock, Pine Bluff, down in El Dorado, you guys be safe now. We're in the yellow over here. You folks in the Northeast are okay for now, looks like. There you go. There's our weather update from Zachary Hall. And there's his sponsor. You know what? We'll show his sponsor. There's Pascal. There you go. Air Plumbing and Electric. Hope they appreciate the shout out. Glad I moved out of Hot Springs. Boy, I tell you, that looks pretty rough. All right. It's lunchtime. I'm hungry. I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do for lunch, actually. Might have to eat leftovers. I don't know. Taco Bell's got them fries back. You guys had them fries? Oh, my God. Those are cocaine sticks is what I call them. Wild prediction. Arkansas scores on their opening drive. God, that's a wild take because I don't know that they've done that maybe but twice this year. 70% chances of us seeing a tornado within 50-mile radius. Wow. That's really high. Shahid, are you up here in NWA? I feel like you've said this before. Are you in NWA? I'll give a wild prediction. Hogs 41, Liberty 9. Could you imagine holding anybody under 20 points for Arkansas? It just seems crazy. Mexican pizza is the best, bro. Pizza, I'm so glad it's back, but them fries, them cocaine sticks are for real. I've never done cocaine, okay? I'm not a drug guy. I'm too fat to be a drug guy. You can't be fat and do drugs. You can't do it. I wouldn't anyways because I'm a family guy. Even if I was skinny, I wouldn't go that route. But you can't be fat and do drugs. You'll die, right? You just can't do it. I said wild. You did. Not now. I live in Georgia. Oh, okay. I used to live in Jacksonville and Little Rock. I see. All right. Yeah. I still say Cincy is our best win so far since he was fresh off being in the college football playoffs, and we're ranked about or exactly where Liberty is ranked now. That's fair. They've beaten better teams and have only gotten one more. Well, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they're 0-2. You could say the same thing. You could say the exact same thing about Liberty. Like, who is their highest quality win on the year? I really don't know. I guess BYU would be their highest quality win. Cincinnati, I don't know. And you're also talking about last year, right? When you say, well, they're fresh off college football playoffs. I'm talking about this year, right? As a quality opponent. Like, who are your quality opponents this year? And what's your record against those quality opponents? For Arkansas, they've not beaten any quality opponent, I don't think. Maybe one, right? South Carolina, maybe. We still don't really know. Auburn's not quality. Missouri State's not quality. I just don't think Cincinnati is a quality win. It certainly looks good when you pull up ESPN and you see that 23 ranked next to their name, but I just have never been sold on them. I don't know. We're back and forth here on them. Remember, I was praising them a couple of weeks ago. I was like, oh, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they will go 11-1. No, they're going to go 10-2. And with that schedule, with the talent they have on the roster that is above that schedule, watching them play the next couple of weeks, I kind of watched them a little bit, saw highlights, did a little bit of reading, not blown away by them at all. South Carolina, Spencer Rattler, inconsistent, right? They've got offensive line troubles. That guy seems like he's always running for dear life. They certainly, again, like I mentioned earlier, they look like a team that was about to go on a run. Like, oh, wow, they may have turned this thing around. And then they lose to Mizzou at home. I mean, and Mizzou's not known. They're known for being competitive at their home, not at your home. And they lose that game. I don't know. Cincy I guess is a good comparison, but I would probably put South Carolina in front. Like, who would win between South Carolina and Cincinnati? I would take South Carolina at a neutral site. On the road, I don't know. BYU is probably, I guess, right now you could say might be your highest quality win. But you always have to look at the other thing too about South Carolina is they're an SEC opponent, right? That's what puts them, I think, ahead of Cincinnati. But Liberty, I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But they're 7-1. The best team on their schedule, they damn near beat on the road. But yeah, you could say the same thing too about them. Like, how many high quality or any quality wins at all do they have? They don't have any. You could argue the same thing. But I think the fact that they went on the road against a good Wake Forest team, by the way, not a bad, crappy ACC team, like a pretty good team, and damn near beat them, right? Damn near beat Wake Forest, who's right now still ranked in the top 25. They're still 21st. I think they've been ranked all year. They've not dropped from the rankings. And Liberty was in a situation where they may have been able to win that game. I mean, anytime you lose by a point, that's the case. So, yeah, I would take Liberty over Cincy, but not by much. Not by much. If we can have another decent showing on defense, does that settle some of our concerns going forward? No, because Liberty, with the issues they've got behind their starting running back, now with their guy, their running back 2 out because he's gone to a funeral. I believe that's going to be the case. I don't think he's going to play. And then the situation at quarterback. And they're not overall a very efficient offensive football team. They're not very efficient on offense. No, I don't think so. I think if you go in against LSU in Fayetteville, and you play them similar to how you looked against Auburn for the first 3.5 quarters, for the most part, not that they were flawless by any stretch of the imagination, then we could start having that conversation. Okay, is the defense, is this a health thing? Have they gotten it figured out? What is Barry Odom? Are we seeing a switch similar to what we've seen the last 2 years where at the halfway point, the first 4 or 5 games, they played great on defense and they flipped? Remember, that was the narrative because it was true. The second half of the season, they struggled, right? This year, it's kind of it's a similar, could it be a similar situation if they were to do that against LSU and, onward against Ole Miss and so on and so forth? No, but I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the case. No, I definitely wouldn't say that but that's the case moving forward. Cocaine sticks, that's what they are, man. Those fries it's ridiculous how good they are, especially with that nacho cheese. Come on. Does beating ourselves count for a quality win? That's pretty funny. That's very true. That is very true. Arkansas has definitely done that. I was having that talk with Stephen Hamner on Marco Polo the other day, and he was like, watching them when they're at their best on offense, you feel like they can go toe-to-toe with any defense in the country. And I couldn't agree more. But he said, they're so wildly inconsistent on offense. They shoot themselves in the foot, and then they've always got to make up for what the defense can't do. And that just puts so much stress on what that offense has to do series in and series out. Not even Not even game to game, not even quarter to quarter. It's like series to series. They have to play consistent on offense because if you slip up, the defense is going to cost you, a bunch of points. That's a pretty good comment out of Matt. I like that. Ty, I'll be in Fayetteville tomorrow, 50-yard line, 22nd row. All right, Johnny, I will be there. I'll be up in the press box. I'm hard to miss. You can almost see my fat ass from space, so you should be able to spot me pretty easily up in the media box. Before you go, who you got, Tennessee or Georgia? I like Georgia, but I think it's going to be tough, man. I really don't know. That almost feels like a coin flip. YouTube not giving me my notifications. Yeah, we're kind of up against that and some other stuff. YouTube is, I don't know what's happened. They've deleted. I had some people tell me they had their YouTube accounts deleted. I had 2 people tell me that. I thought it was the same person, but it wasn't. Ty, what time should I be in Fayetteville tomorrow to avoid standing in a long line? Oh, well, good luck with that. I mean, the gates open 2 hours early. So just be there when the gates open, right? You got to be there when the gates open. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock. Just enough time to drink some beer, right? Get you a few. Head on down to the stadium. If you've had too many, you might want to ride the bus. Hopefully you got good parking, right? I'm up in 56. That's where I have my passes for. My parking passes in lot 56. But 3 p.m. kickoff, and then you got LSU at 11. I hate that so much. You guys, I hate that so much. Ole Miss is your only opportunity for a night game this year. Think about that. That'll be 2 straight years. If this isn't a night game, 2 straight years without a night game in Fayetteville. That just seems so unfair in conference play. That just seems so unfair. Yeah, you had Missouri State at 6 p.m. You had A&M was a neutral site, so you've only had one 6 p.m. kickoff in Fayetteville. That's stupid is what that is. LSU and Arkansas should absolutely be at least a 3 p.m. kickoff. It says CBS or ESPN. Really? For LSU? I thought it was CBS. Why does that say or ESPN? Anyways, doesn't matter. We're waiting on Ole Miss. See, now y'all start asking me questions. Let me scroll up here. Average weight of Arkansas offensive lineman 316. Average weight of defensive line 267. Liberty has had close games with way lesser opponents. I agree. I'll be at the LSU game. Oh, all right, Aaron. It's too bad that's 11 a.m. Too bad that's 11 a.m. kickoff. Y'all comparing. I think he meant complaining about Odom. We are missing 3 super seniors. That's all. I think it's a little more than that. I mean, I definitely think the Barry Odom skepticism is warranted for sure. But yeah, you've had to deal with injuries. I agree. I'm not sold Wake as much. 2 best teams they played beat them. Dude, they lost to Clemson by a touchdown. I don't know about that, man. I've watched them play. I'm not saying they're elite. I'm saying I think they're a pretty damn good football team. I don't know if I'm sold. I don't know what that means when you say that. Are you saying, like, I'm not sold on them being a playoff? Yeah, they're not a playoff contender, but I think they're a legit top 20 club. I don't know that they stay there. It is the ACC after all. They have a hard time staying ranked. You didn't get the Discord? You didn't get the Discord notification? I put it in Discord. Should have gotten 2 or 3 pings in Discord. Meanwhile, Georgia has 10 5-stars coming and all ranked. Yeah. Talk forever, Ty. Stun the like, says William. Appreciate that, man. We're at an hour 20. I said I was hungry. Who was the weather guy? That is Zachary Hall. Tell him I sent you too. Tell him Ty Hudson sent me. Hogtown's pretty cool if you get there early. Liberty Bibberty, baby. Liberty Bibberty, that's right. Liberty Bibberty. You think Sam would have me arrested if I bought my, so you brought my Mary Jane vapes? Well, I don't know about Sam, but I think security probably would. They'd probably throw you out. Ty, you and Biddy ought to do a video together. You know how many times I've seen that or heard that? I think he's doing fine without me. I got none. Well, that's crazy. I'm seriously thinking about, okay, you're going on about your weed pipes. Freeze taught his team to call the Hogs. Yeah, I saw that. That is, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of an opposing coach coming into Fayetteville teaching their players the hog call. But hey, I love it. I'm not gonna boot anybody. Beat them bad Hogs, so Hugh Freeze takes the Auburn job. Yeah, this could be his audition, right? This could be the audition for him and Auburn. I think they're going to – someone at Auburn, one of them boosters, someone up high who pays attention to what's going on, right? They're going to probably watch this game. I'm sure. Injuries are one thing, but the discipline, scheming, and prep issues are on the coach. I'm not sold on firing Odom, just saying. I think that's – there's been some issues for sure. I'm not going to go into prep because I don't know. But what I do know is they have looked awfully suspect all year, even before injuries, especially in the secondary. But, again, you're going to get a lot of guys back. Chavis, Slusher's going to be back again. Both the Johnsons are back this week. You're in pretty good shape. You know, no excuses at this point, especially with what's going on with them on the offensive side of the ball, with the quarterback situation and all that. Back to work. All right, appreciate it, Aaron. Thanks, man. I like Biddy, but not enough fan interaction with him. I like this better. It's more organic. I think Odom being on the sidelines has helped our defense and moving Clark to safety. Moving Clark to safety should have happened so long ago. Why did it take them so long to do it? Well, because of injuries at corner. Sure. Ty, go and get your lunch. These guys hold you forever asking questions. Yeah, I know. I don't mind reading them. I don't mind reading and answering them, but yeah. Yeah, really, Trey don't interact with the fan base as much. Yeah, I think Trey just puts out the video, right? He's just there to convey. Yeah, this is an entirely different show. This is me interacting with you guys. That's probably our biggest difference. He just tells you the news, right? And I think he's great at it. He's obviously he's doing a hell of a lot better than I am. I mean, he's killing it. He really is. Trey puts out good content, no doubt. A lot of respect for Trey. Talk to him from time to time. He hasn't been to practice on Mondays. Those are the practices I go to. I haven't seen him at practice on Mondays in a couple of weeks. But he's been there a lot. I mean, Trey is around it a lot for sure. So, all right, that is it. I am going to go eat some lunch. I hope you guys, for those of you in Arkansas and down in the Southwest and up here in Northwest Arkansas, and those of you in Central Arkansas, be careful. Watch out for them tornadoes. Stay dry. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will not be going to any. I really wanted to go to a high school game tonight, but that's just not going to happen. But I will. I'm planning on, even though my wife is out of town and I got to figure out who's going to watch my kids. I will be at the game tomorrow. That's the plan. I mean, I got to be, right? But if not, I mean, regardless, the post-game show will still happen regardless. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. Woo pig, and we'll see you tomorrow. Remember, 2 post-games tomorrow. 2 post-games. From here on out, Hogville first, right? Hogville first. I don't know how long, maybe 30, 40 minutes. and then Tuss Talk with Ty. We're back for post-game number 2. And the call-ins will be live. You will get the link. It'll be available in our Discord. I'll throw the link in our chat. You click it. Make sure you got earbuds or something, and you're close. Some of you had your phone so far away from you. Haas, you're one of them, by the way. I could barely hear what you were saying. So make sure you get that microphone close, but I want to hear your reactions. We got more than I thought. I made a video, and I need to post that individually. I don't know why I didn't do it this week. But I have that video set aside where I cut up what you guys said, made it into a video. Really a lot of fun. I think we ended up with 5 or 6 callers. Hoping we get some more this weekend. But that was a lot of fun. So, I know you were driving. You probably shouldn't have done that while you were driving. I'm just saying, Haas. But I do appreciate you calling in, though, man. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow twice. Looking forward to it. Go Hogs. See you then. Oh, shout out to Patreon sponsors. Appreciate you guys. Hope you stick around. There is a new audio I'm hoping to get out to you guys today. A new audio upload. A quick audio for Patreon supporters. And by the way, you get access in Discord, right? That other people don't get on the Patreon page. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Woo pig.